Hello, my name is Jonathan Shawcross and I am the Managing Director of the Global Banking Practice here at Gobeyond Partners. And welcome to the first edition of a series of video blogs, which I'm going to be hosting, which will be known as Banking Bites. We will be hopefully bringing you some interesting insights, things that we are seeing and hearing across the banking industry. Also some of our own perspectives and observations and analysis. And the purpose of it is hopefully to promote some further thinking, some more debate, and really to help all of you across the industry further your own thoughts and indeed actions as we go through and hopefully come out of the other side of the coronavirus crisis. In this first edition, I want to share with you a couple of things. First of all, how we are thinking as a Gobeyond Partners business about the crisis, what we are calling the crisis curve, the cycle that we believe that we are going through and will go through as the crisis unfolds. And secondly, some immediate themes and thoughts that myself and my colleagues across our banking practice are seeing, hearing and observing amongst our clients and our contacts. And then in the following series of Banking Bites, we will then start to explore each of what are 5 key themes for us and really understand, as I say, how we are seeing and observing others tackle those themes and hopefully start to generate some thinking and debate across a wider group, which will then go deeper into each of those themes in each of our individual editions. So firstly, how are we thinking about the crisis as a business here at Gobeyond and how it will unfold? Well, we believe this will unfold through 5 phases. The first of those is rapid crisis response. So this was the period when, of course, the situation escalated very quickly and lockdown started. And the key question for organisations was, can I continue to manage my business as usual, whether that be opening offices, branches, answering the phone, handling urgent customer inquiries. The second of those phases we have called Take Back Control. And we have seen most organisations over the last month move successfully through that phase. So getting on top of a new set of solutions for home working, for running networks, keeping payments flowing, and managing the business and all of the queries which continue to come in, and the people of that organisation successfully. So how do I get on top of the responsibilities that I have on a day-to-day basis and be in control? Now, we would argue that we're now into our third phase of the crisis, which is, as we would call it, business as unusual. So this is clearly a very unusual set of circumstances, an unusual time, but organisations actually settling into more of a drumbeat of understanding what it is to run their business in the way in which they are having to through this crisis, and ensuring that that's sustainable for the medium term. We then believe there will be 2 further phases. The one after that will be about transitioning back to a new normal, a phrase which we've been hearing a lot across the industry. And finally, future-proofing against further crises that we may see. Clearly, countries and organisations are going to be at different stages across this. And as I say, we feel we're probably into the third phase at the moment. Now, interestingly for banks, unlike the last major global crisis, the global financial crisis back in 2008, the banks certainly won't be the villains of this piece. They have, of course, been the key workers through the period of the crisis. And indeed, as governments need to step back and withdraw the funding that they've been providing, the banks will be expected to step in and will need to support the economy as it falls back onto the private sector and the banking industry as a whole. And as I listened to my clients talking about how they were managing through the crisis, what they were thinking about, and as they were starting to look ahead, it became clear to me that there were a series of themes that were emerging that myself and my colleagues were seeing and hearing every day. And so I wanted to share those, as I said today, and then in later sessions we'll go into those in some more depth. We see 5 themes. The first of those is how do I re-engage my people? So as I have relied very heavily on those people throughout the crisis, how do I make sure that I bring them successfully back into a different set of environments and really make that work? And that for us is right at the heart of solving the challenges ahead. Number 2 is how do I move forward with real pace, or how do I accelerate the actions that I need to take? Number 3 is how do I develop greater agility? This whole crisis has brought about real insight into how agile organizations really are. The 4th is how do we think differently? So we all know that there have been hugely different ways of thinking, great innovation during this period. How do organizations really understand that in their own companies and indeed in the minds of their customers and clients? And finally, how do I reshape my business? So what are the changes that I will need to bring about as a business to adopt and adapt to the new environment in which we all, banks included, will find ourselves in? So those are our 5 themes. I encourage initially some comments, some views. Please do share the post. But I want to try and encourage a debate and some perspectives which, as we move forward and we dig into each of those themes in more detail over the coming weeks, we can really hopefully foster something which is useful to us all. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for taking the time, and I'll look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Thank you very much.